Everywhere I go, the children rising. Everywhere I go, the children rising. I saw them just rise up, the wicked running. I saw them just rise up, the wicked running. Equal rights and justice, when I defend, we won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. If you go in America, if you go in Canada, if you go in Africa, I saw them just rise up, the wicked road. I saw them just rise up, the wicked road. I saw them just rise up, the wicked road. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. We won't run away. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Yeah, rolling to the people, yeah. The fire burn them wicked, wicked people, and the fire burn them wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn on the wicked, burn on all of them. The fire burn them wicked, wicked country, and the fire burn the wicked, wicked town. The fire burn them wicked, wicked city. Fire burn on the wicked, burn them. When it's impossible to see what's become of our people in their life, they do with so much evil. We will wobble, a triple tongue and trouble them. Selling soldiers to work for the devil. But judges say, judgment will soon come when the walls of our sword and once again go tumbling down. Beautiful Nash, people them are more with judge you pour all these rocks with fire and brimstone. Fire burn them wicked, wicked people, and the fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn on the wicked, burn on all of them. They say the fire burn the wicked, wicked country. The fire burn the wicked, wicked town. The fire burn the wicked, wicked city. Fire burn on the wicked, burn on Babylon. You know the people them must suffer and the world and eat and bleed while you spread your lies and propaganda, sow your bloody seed. The children working, the fingers to the bone while you pay all the money to some pretty face without a clothes. And your day will come, it will come. Just say when you beg the hills for cover, but the hills will run away. When we listen, when we you learn, it meant too late to have forgiveness when you will begin to open. The fire burn them wicked, wicked people. The fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down the wicked, burn down all of them. And the arrow pressing, we shall overcome, but certain nations out instead. I give a little and even shed it, yes. Easy selling our daughters for some butter or the bread. And the fathers giving their lives up the sun, doing battle for the devil, warring for the wicked one. You might think this is just another song, but the blood you spit, you calling out a long way. Yeah. The fire burn them wicked, wicked people. The fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down the wicked, burn down all of them. They say fire burn them wicked, wicked people. The fire burn the wicked, wicked men. The fire burn them wicked, wicked friend. Fire burn down.
Of America, otherwise known as the land of the free. But generations of Black Americans experienced a very different nation. 400 years ago, the White Lion docked here at Point Comfort in Virginia, then a British colony. It was carrying 20 African slaves.
So-called blacks have been afflicted in America for over 400 years.
You've probably heard a lot about systemic discrimination in America. It's the idea that if you're not white, the deck is somehow stacked against you. And that is true. Government studies and academic research show over and over again that to be Black in America is to face bias.
Rivers and lakes are turning blood red or drying up.
The city of Cocoa Beach is dealing with its canals turning red.
A pool of water located close to the Dead Sea in the biblical region of Moab, modern-day Jordan, has mysteriously turned blood red.
On Tuesday, a river in China turned blood red overnight.
Drone footage of a lake dramatically turning red in Siberia has sparked a social media frenzy online and even prompted biblical warning. Lagoon becomes blood red in Mexico.
Record-breaking summer temperatures and multiple heat waves have left Europe's essential waterways drained.
Pandemics, pestilence, and dangerous weather patterns threaten the lives of billions around the world.
Nearly 15 million people around the world have died from the impact of COVID, directly or indirectly, during the first 2 years of the pandemic.
Searing, unrelenting heat, ravaging Europe's land and overpowering its people.
After quickly igniting into the state's largest and deadliest inferno this season, California's McKinney fire is still a blowtorch.
1,000 dead in extreme heat, 16,000 displaced by an outbreak of wildfires. It's hell on earth for some residents of Western Europe, where a historic heat wave is raging.
It's raining mice in Australia, literally, and I'm not making this up or reading it out from a Murakami. Millions of mice have infested Australia.
And now, war looms.
Elon Musk shocks everyone by saying that the Third World War may begin. Elon Musk's threatening warning that the Third World War awaits US in September.
We are the children of Israel. This is a warning to the powers that be.
Let us go.
Let us go.
Let us go.
Let us go.
If you ask me, it's beginning to look a lot like Egypt. But I want to say shalom and blessings to all of my brothers and sisters, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertain the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, our Mashiach came, who is over all Elohim blessed forever. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High, Heavenly Father, the sustainer of all things. All praise, honor, and glory to the one and only begotten Son that he sent in the earth to do his will, to be the Redeemer of the chosen. All praise, honor, and glory to the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, Spirit of truth, comfort, and prophecy. The great Elohim, the one and only divine Elohim of our great forefathers, from Adam to the patriarchs, to the prophets, to the apostles and martyrs for Yehoshua Mashiach, and to the scattered abroad today, including us. I want to say shalom and welcome you to this fellowship. Boy, do I have a lot on my mind. We're going to be dealing with the treasonous mentality of Black people, our people. And treason is just a politically correct term for saying a sellout. But we're going to deal with some things tonight, a lot of things, you know, I've been coming across in the past few weeks, but we're going to talk about it tonight. I got the brother Yash popped up on me. What's going on, brother Yash? Shalom.
Yeah, shalom, brother, shalom. Just blessed to see another day.
Yeah, likewise. How'd it go today, man?
It went okay, but I'm just tired, but it went okay.
I hear you. You know, I know that kind of thing can be taxing, you know.
Oh yeah, mentally, bit of everything. But you know what? I'm just waiting to see what the Most High has in store for us tonight. You know, at the end of the day, they're gonna just have to let us go, so we can go worship Him.
Amen. Let's see who we got in the chat tonight. We got Brother Mike Mikael Yasharel. Shalom to you. Once again, good to see you back. Hope y'all enjoyed that live last night, man. That was a real good fellowship, dealing with a lot of the things that the Most High is doing in the earth, as far as the nations and the things that He's doing with us personally. You know, got Brother Darnell Blackshear. Shalom and blessings to you. Once again, good to see you. Stay on Fire Ministry. Shalom to you. Hope all is well. Glad to have you in the chat once again. Brother Ty C. Shalom and blessings to you. Hope you're doing well, bro. Leanne King. Shalom and blessings to Sister Leanne King. Hope all is well. Good to see you in the chat. We got Pensy Lola. Yah bless. Shalom to you. She says, shalom, beloved family. Blessings and all praises be to the Most High. Glad to have you in the chat, sis. Rodney Hinkle. Hallelujah. Shalom. Good to see you in the chat, Brother Rodney. Sister Yaz, she says, shalom. Shalom to you. Hope all is well. Glad to have you in the chat, Sister Michelle Y. Shalom and blessings to you. Good to see you once again. Hope everybody had a good day. Sister Darlene Franklin, shalom and blessings to you. Sister Darlene, hope all is well. Sister Aniana Coleman, shalom and blessings to you. Glad to have you back. Lifted by Yah, shalom to you. Good to see you in the chat. Once again, got my love in the chat. Shalom and blessings to you, my love. Good to see you in the chat as always. Jacob Israel, shalom to you. Good to see you in the chat, Brother Jacob. Fervent Heat, 144,000. Good to see you in the chat once again. Shalom to you. Omiya Yakira, Sister Omiya, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Blessing to see you in the chat. Devorah Cotton, Sister Devorah Cotton. Good to see you in the chat once again. Shalom to you. Light of Dawn, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Good to see you in the chat. Sister Sharon O, shalom and blessings to you. Good to see you in the chat. Hope all is well. Maria M, Sister Maria, shalom to you. Good to see you back in the chat. Hope all is well. Hope you had a blessed day. Sister Marcella Smith, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Once again, good to see you. Davion D. Nice Murphy, shalom to the brother Davion. Good to see you back in the chat. Hope all is well. Observant D. Program, shalom and blessings. to you once again. Glad to have you in the chat. Hope all is well. Brother Tone, what's going on, Brother Tone? Shalom and blessings. He say Shalom family. Good to see you in the chat, Brother Tone, once again. It's a blessing to always have brothers and sisters in the fellowship. Up next, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Good to see you in the chat. Sister Leah Yisrael, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Sister S. Yarp, shalom and blessings to you. Glad to have you back in the chat. Ain't seen you in a while. Hope all is well. Thank you for sending them tracks. Mark B. Fitness, shalom and blessings. Hope all is well. He's saying, give us our money. Let us go, like Brother Yash said, and give us a good send-off. You know, nothing wrong with that. I'm in 100% agreement with that. Glad to have you in the chat, Brother Mark. Brody B, shalom, Israelite, shalom and blessings to you. Hope you're doing well. Glad to have you, Sister Unorthodox, daughter of Zion, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. Hope your family is doing well. Shalom to you once again. As always, good to see you in the chat. Sister Patricia Thomas, shalom and blessings to the Sister Patricia. Hope you're doing well. Sister Patricia be coming up with some words. She came up, I don't know if she came up with it, but she I seen her use the word caucasity. When we I was showing something about, I forget what the post was, but she set it off with that word, like the nerve of these people. The caucasity. Shalom to Sister Patricia. Rome, me, shalom and blessings to you, bro. Good to see you in the chat. As always, glad to have you back. Brother Amir, shalom to the brother Amir. He say happy Day of Atonement. And to everybody who's observing it, happy Day of Atonement. To you brothers and sisters. You know, we know these are the times of the feast. And so, you know, to everybody who's in respect of that, I want to say shalom to you. Got Brother Joe Scott, shalom and blessings to Brother Joe Scott. Good to see you in the chat. Seeking the Most High, shalom and blessings. Hope all is well. Good to have you back in the chat. Tyrone P, shalom and blessings to you. Hope all is well. We got Sister Cindy Carr, shalom, blessed and beautiful Israelite family. Shalom to you, Sister Cindy. It's a blessing to have you as always. And the last person so far in the chat, the great brother JPM, Jason Phillip McCauley. I guess he wanted to let everybody else go first today. But shalom and blessings to you, bro. As always, it's a blessing to have you in the chat. That's everybody in the chat for now. Everybody that's listening in and haven't chimed in, I want to say shalom to you all as well. Thank you for chiming in. Brother Yash, can you think of any treasonous people off the top of your head? While you elaborating on that, I'm going to be pulling up a passage real quick. But when you think of treason or quote unquote sellouts, what comes to mind to you?
First and foremost, our daggone so-called leaders that they have placed that they sort of place above us. These new faces seem to arise every year, and all of a sudden, if you see them on the news and they black and they getting a whole lot of attention, most likely they're sellout. Them, oh Lord, the radio personalities. Man, we got a plethora of preachers. We got a plethora. I can name a plethora. And it's just probably too much to name. You- it's a lot. Gang members, it's just a whole lot, man. Shoot, it's a lot.
I guess the range is pretty far on that, but when you talk about treason or people being sellouts, quote unquote, and it's another term for that. We're gonna read it. It's a term we brought out before in this passage that I'm gonna read. We read it before, but when you think of that term, it's pretty much defined or characterized as somebody who is a traitor to their own people, their own heritage, their own culture, and what they people stand for. You know, that's how I would define it. It's, other meanings, other definitions for that. But on that note, we can all say at some point we've all been sellouts. Once we know the truth of who we are, our heritage, and our culture, that's basically what the Most High told our people when He said you would separate yourself from the heritage that I gave you. So at some point, all of Israel, speaking of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, we all fall under that category. Even now, we can say that because we're still being held captive. We're still having to follow out certain things within this culture in order to live and function. Not to say that it's in our hearts, but long story short, we all fall under that category. We think of the celebrities and the people in government, and sure enough, we can slide them in that slot, but all Israel fell under that category. What I want to do is I want to share a passage real quick. And like I said, this is something that I brought out before. This is from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And this is from the section of the Dead Sea Scrolls titled Of Moses Apocryphon. You have access to this. You search under this title, and you can be right where we are. And this is fragment 1, and it reads like this. It says, "You will do all that your Elohim has commanded you from the mouth of the prophet. You will keep all these precepts, and you will return to the Adonai your Elohim with all of your heart and all your soul. And your Elohim will desist from the wrath of his great anger to save you from your misery. And the prophet who will arise and speak defection in your midst, turning you away from your Elohim, shall be put to death. But if the tribe from which he originates stands up for him and says, let him not be put to death, for he is righteous. He is a trustworthy prophet. You, your elders, and your judges will come with that tribe to the place which your Elohim will choose within one of your tribes to appear before the anointed priest on whose head the oil of anointing has been poured." So basically, this is saying that the prophet that arises and speaks defection, we're going to look that up, and then we're going to look up the term treason. The prophet that arises and speaks defection in your midst, turning you away from your Elohim, shall be put to death. So according to this, that's the standard of what should happen to those people rising up in the midst of our people, turning us away from the Most High. But then it says that if the tribe that he originates from vouches on his behalf, then basically they're going to have to take him before the high priest who's anointed in order to decide what would happen with him. So, according to this, those who rise up among our people are worthy of the punishment of death. But it says that if they're a trustworthy prophet and he's a righteous prophet, I don't see how you come to that conclusion if he's turning us away from the Most High. But at the same time, you know, you judge a person by their works, you know. And so this is basically saying the fate of that individual that does that is determined by the priest, and the priests go to the Most High to see what happens in these types of situations. So what I want to do now is I want to look up the term defection. All right, let me share this. We're going to look up this, and then we're going to look up treason. All right. Defection. You can see it here. It says the desertion of one's country or cause in favor of an opposing one. The desertion of one's country or cause in favor of an opposing one. So defection is when you desert your own country, your own heritage in favor of another country or heritage. You desert your heritage in favor of an opposing one. Notice I'm emphasizing opposing one because that's what it's defined as. It's not saying that you just leaving your heritage for another heritage. It's saying for an opposing heritage. And in this case, we know that all nations oppose the Most High's heritage and righteousness. So much so that in future times when we dealing with prophecy, he's going to force all nations to come up and observe certain feast days as a means of tribute. Because he says if they don't come up, that he's going to curse those lands by not allowing any rain. So it's not going to rain on those lands. But that's defection. All right. So now find treason. All right. Treason is the crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. So treason is when you betray your country, and even to the point of helping an opposing nation kill your own people. Now, when we talk about treason, sellouts, we know a lot of our people fall in this category on all levels, not just in the political level. That's one of the main places they are. We know that it's more quote unquote black people in politics now than it's ever been, according to my understanding. Shalom, Brother Cleo. I see you in the chat. Brother Najee, I see y'all in the chat. But when you're dealing with treason, a lot of our people fall under that category. But what are y'all thoughts on this? What's going on, Brother Bunya?
Peace, brothers. Peace and blessings, bro, and peace and blessings to everybody in the chat. You know, there's a couple of words when you talk about. Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Yeah, so treason. There's a lot of different words that have that root beginning, like traitor. Then you talked about defection, defectors, those who betray their country or their heritage or culture for another. So when I think about those, I really think about the why in it, the who, the what, the why, right? And according to what's written, I can I share a couple of scriptures?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna share a couple of scriptures here. I don't see it said present. All right, yes.
Yeah, all of them. It's the same thing. You can click on that. All of them like that now.
Okay.
Mine does that too.
You see that?
Yeah.
All right. So the reason why I'm going here because this is in more cases than none. This is the why, right? And it's talk about false teachers and contentment. And it says I'll start right at 1 Timothy 6 and 3. It says, if any man teach otherwise and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Mashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness, he is proud, knowing nothing, but dotting about questions and strife of words, whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, evil surmisings, perverse disputing of men of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. But godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain that we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. But they that which will be rich fall into temptations and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money, not money itself, but for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. Right? So when I think about defectors and I think about traitors and I think about treason and treacherous people that do these type of things towards their own people, they do it for the love of money, because they want money, because they want riches, because they want status. They'll betray their own people, right? And then when you look back on Judas, like this is what Judas did, right? Now, Judas was known to be a traitor. It says in Luke 6 and 16. And Judas, the brother of James, and Judas Iscariot, which also was the traitor. Why did he betray Mashiach? Why did he betray his own people? Why did he betray the Mashiach, his savior? For money. Even when Mashiach gave him an opportunity to repent and turn from what he was doing, and he seen him and say, hey friend, where you coming from? Judas, anybody that had love in their heart would have been like, I'm not gonna betray him. But not Judas. He still betrayed him. Right? Now check this out. This is what happened. This is why he betrayed him. It says here, it says in John 12 and 3, then took Mary a pound of ointment and of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Mashiach, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with odor and ointment. Then said one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him, why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor? This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had to bag and bear what was put in it therein. So he didn't even care about the poor. His old deal was he was stealing money. For the love of money is the root of all evil. Stealing because of money, he betrayed Mashiach. Because of money, because of the one of gain, people will betray their own kinsmen, their own culture, their own country, their own heritage. They give up just to have a little bit of status amongst the other people because they want to be like the heathen. The Most High said, "Don't envy the heathen, neither choose any of their ways." But that's what people do. That's what our people do today. They want to be so much like the heathen. They sell their very souls if it was theirs to sell. You know.
Yeah.
That's all. You know.
Yeah.
That's what I see, and it's all about money. It's all about gain. Treacherous people and betrayal, and traitors and defectors. You know.
And that's profound, you know, because like I said, you have more of our people in positions that you would think would be able to make a difference. And instead things seem worse. Brother Yash, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I was, but he's exactly correct, man. And these type of people, I mean, you find them in every level, you know, of our lives. You know what I mean? But these type of people, they're the same. If you give them you know, some kind of position of power, or even in the lowest levels, you know, of our community, you know, these are those people. You know, they would have robbed and stole and sold you out if they were considered nobody. And we have much too many of them amongst us, and we need to separate ourselves even from them once they're exposed.
Yep, the great separation. What are y'all thoughts on these people who are in politics and in the media and everything that speak out on our behalf? I know, you know, they don't really represent us to the fullest, but you know, what are y'all thoughts on them? Because we're gonna get into some of that next.
I think that they're just actually they're just playing us and doing their master's bidding by offering us empty words. And even when even when they're saying they're fighting for us, or when they're speaking, it seems as if they're speaking for our plight. They're not really speaking for our plight. They're speaking to divide us. All the more so because it's all about, you know, it's all about the bag today. You know, take like because the minute you start bringing the minute you start bringing up reparations, where are their voices then? You know,
yeah,
where are their voices then? We've had the Congressional Black Caucus, and they're a body that's big enough in themselves that they sway the vote of the Congress either way. They are needed, yet they always vote lock, stock, and barrel with the Democratic platform, and never do they have or band together and say we're not going to do anything unless y'all do this. They don't never offer any kind of proposals for our people. And if they are, they're empty proposals. They are stuff that don't mean nothing. Name this street in honor of such and such, or some old BS that's nothing tangible for our people. Period. Nothing.
I'll say this much: I don't trust politicians. I don't believe politicians, and anyone who thinks they're going to go into the system and change it, you are delusional. You are not going to be a cog in a machine that's turning contrary to the workings of that machine. You understand what I'm saying? You're not going to change anything. The issue is not even them. The issue is us. The people have the power in the country. The people have the power to overturn governments and things like that. But because our people, and a vast majority of people, not just us, but this whole country is a bunch of sheeps, a bunch of people who are settled for less and less and less and less, just to get their little little bit of comfortability. They'll give up everything, you know. And these politicians will take advantage. You don't know what these people doing in the background. They got that seat for a reason. You know, a lot of these people are just straight up crooked. You think they're gonna come in the system and change something for you? How many times we gonna see this stuff happen and we not realize that these people are not for us? We go in with this mindset of thinking just because someone look like us that, oh, they for us. We go into this mindset that just because somebody says something, you know, that may sound a little bit, you know, appealing to us, that they somehow are for us. But the trend is to tell us whatever we want to hear to a certain degree, right? Because they'll use vague words and things like that that can cover everybody, but it won't benefit us. They talk about, you know, getting people of color things, you know, but our people are settled for that instead of them saying, are you going to do something specifically for us? And then you got the traders on the other side saying, why should we be asking for stuff for us? This is America. You know?
Yeah.
What happened to us? It was so long ago, you know, this is, you know, we don't really need that. We don't need this, need that. While at the same time, our neighborhoods fall deep into degradation, you know. And once it's to a point where, you know, they can just clean up house, then they gentrify all of that and then kick them out of the neighborhoods. And the people who had homes and jobs and whatnot, now they're homeless. Now they're struggling, you know. So I don't trust no politician. They all liars. If they had any good intention for us, they would have did something for us, you know. And the people that were supposed to be for us, the people that was behind the pulpits, you know, none of these guys were politicians. Malcolm X wasn't a politician, you know.
Yep.
No politicians. The Black Panthers weren't politicians, you know. And I know we want to talk about COINTELPRO and how we was infiltrated, and and even now this awakening is infiltrated with people who reporting back and telling them our workings, our dealings, and if anybody is a threat or not, you know.
Yeah, but you know, another thing I'm seeing too, as far as, you know, in the media and everything, one thing they do is they'll have people who will speak on the issues that we have in as Black people, and they'll line a person like that up with another brother or sister who, you know, is on their panel that's pretty much opposing them, because they want us to have this pull yourself up by your bootstrap mentality, you know, in which we, you know, we should have a mentality to want to do for ourselves. But we know realistically and systematically, a lot of things have been instituted to stop us from thriving as a whole. You have individuals among us that's doing certain things, but that's what I'm seeing in the media a lot, is they're taking the reality of our plight, yet they're neutralizing it with what I want to call a mainstream perspective of how we should just get past it. You know, things are different now. You know, what y'all think about that?
I see. Yeah, but that they they run that pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you're looking for a handout when we're not looking for nobody's looking for a handout. All we're asking for is an opportunity, and the same opportunity that you've afforded others in this country. You know what I mean? You've afforded others uh, bills for them to go ahead and move out west and possess the Homestead Act, possess lands great for pennies on the for pennies an acre. You've gave the GI Bill originally to your white soldiers. You know what I mean? Every program that you came up, you have you every time you allow immigrants in this country to this day, you give you the immigrants are coming here. They make it seem as if they went through some kind of struggle and escaped their country and came over here uh, and made a successful life for themselves. But they come here because they know that if they come here, they get grants. They're paying these immigrants to come here, just like they paying, the Ukrainians. This country seems to have uh, money. They can pull out an infinite amount of money for any cause, except for when it comes to our people. And then they always turn around and they get some of our people whom had handouts, by the way, or some kind of help, or just managed. No, I want to say, or just managed to overcome, but truth be told, they didn't just manage. They had some kind of help from them in some kind of way where they're willing to throw out the rather than say, well, I did get some opportunity and I was helped this way and that way. They want to take the credit as if they did it all all on their own. And if I can do it, y'all can do it too. But no one tells you the whole story.
Yeah.
And we ain't fools, so we know.
Man, I think let's break off for a second. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna play some videos. We're gonna get the fair use, but I want to show some examples of what I mean in a political arena. Certain people using their voice to neutralize pretty much what the Most High said He did to us. We know in Jeremiah 30, he let us know that He's the one who put us in this position. But Isaiah chapter 1, verse 2, it says, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth. For Yahuwah hath spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel does not know, my people does not consider." I think this is the part right here that stands out when you look at a lot of our people the lack of consideration of a history or a culture, or even the understanding of it. Everybody else understands the importance of having a culture and a heritage but us. And we know that the main, or one of the main elements of that, is having your own land, which is also a part of our heritage, our land, just like everybody else. But the lack of consideration is one of the things that stand out when I see my people. It says, a sinful nation, people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Most High. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel into anger. They are gone away backward. And like I said, all of us are pretty much in this category because all of us were turned away from the Most High, separated from our heritage. You know, now we're, by the grace of the Most High, waking up, and He's giving us understanding. You know, we're seeking the Most High. And so those of us whose hearts are in that direction are considered the people, according to what's written. But I'm gonna take a break for a second. I got a track for y'all. I want y'all to hear. Y'all got anything else?
Nah, play on, player.
All right. Be right back. Shalom.
Brother man who helped you was on the ground. It's the same brother man who tried to shoot you down. With a smile on his face and a gun in his hand, he's glad to take the life of his brother man. Beware of your enemies. Beware of your enemies. Of your enemies. Beware of your enemies. I've tried at times to have comfort and peace of mind. Try to resist the wickedness that now exists. But those hard-hearted people trying to tempt my soul, they'll do everything in their power to wipe me away from the face of the earth. Of your enemies. Beware of your enemies. Beware of your enemies. Brother man you helped who was on the ground is the same brother man who tried to shoot you down. With a smile on his face and a gun in his hand, he's glad to take the life of his brother man.
Fair Use Act disclaimer. This site is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. I want to share this video real quick. I'm trying to get the right video. Give me 1 second. Okay, there it is.
A woman wrote on the ground, "The American flag propagates violence."
It's charged. We can get rid of this. Yeah, it's charged. It's not that, it's not that bad. It's charged.
There goes the First Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're in the United States, you don't talk like this. Now, if you don't like the United States, you go home.
A woman wrote on the ground, "The American flag propagates violence."
It's charged. We can get rid of this. Yeah, it's charged. It's not that, it's not that bad. It's charged.
There goes the First Amendment of the United States.
Yeah, but you know what? If you're in the United States, you don't talk like this. Now, if you don't like the United States, you go home.
I think those are white people out there saying that, as far as the statement, that it was their right to make that statement. And look who stood in the gap. It's one of our own people who stood in the gap. What you think about that situation right there, bro?
I'm muted. Yeah, typical actions from, homeborn slave. Love it here. Hey, you know what? This is what I'll be honest about. I'll be honest about this. As far as the comfortability of this nation, right? You can get it any other place. You can live in Africa and have a certain amount of comfortability. You can live in Egypt, which is in Africa. You can live in Guatemala and get certain levels of comfortability. You can live in Puerto Rico. You can live in You can live all kinds of places you can live, man. You know, white supremacy has made it comfortable for all over the place. Wherever there's white people, there's comfortability. You know, but what she did right there, it goes completely without acknowledging the truth. You know, you don't like it, go. You know, that's the type of talk Proud Boys mean. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I remember I told you before that at times I ask random people how they feel about living in other countries, particularly Africa. And for the most part, I get a negative response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what way, though?
I mean, in the way that you said, everybody look at this place as a place of comfort, a place that they know is home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gave the example once about children born into slavery as opposed to people being brought over in slavery. Yeah. And so that's the effects we have. That's why I say it's by the grace of the Most High that we're able to understand things the way that we do. You know, and it's not by anything that we do to no degree, because even the things we do, He grant us to do. But it's just in that way, man. Like a lot of people, when you mention Africa, they think of hardship, they think of huts, poverty, jungles, And I asked this dude, man, I can show you a lot of places in America that's like that. Without the animals, of course, but as far as the conditions, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's
conditions.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people have in mind, and even when you read in Exodus, it talks about that, how the people murmured because of the comforts. And it's like, man, that's funny, because the Most High said He looked down and saw the condition of His people and the hardship of His people. But they get in the wilderness and have to depend on the Most High. And now is, Egypt was our comfort. But yeah, I think that's strange, man. And not to say the Most High said He would be a sanctuary to us, so that's not to knock anybody that's doing well or, have things, because if you look at the history of our people, everywhere we went, we've thrived to some degree. Especially in Rome, our people thrived in Rome, they thrived in Egypt up until a certain point. But being industrious and doing those types of things is a part of our history. That's one thing that they separated us from too. All Black Wall Street, in a sense, wasn't established on the right things. It was, however, an example of how our people can thrive.
I know you're familiar with this scripture where it says Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think about a lot what it means to be spoiled. We understand spoiled means robbed, but is it possible that our people are spoiled in a way that we're completely dependent on this system to do everything for us? That even when the Most High took us out of Egypt and put us in the wilderness. Our people, we don't realize it's not normal for us to be completely dependent on this government, on in any man. We're not used to doing for ourselves. And when I say doing for ourselves, I don't even mean operating within a construct. I'm talking about operating without a construct and being able to build one of our own.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And this is some of the things that, I know you brothers are privy to, but Brother Cleo, this is what he's talking about. He's talking about us not being spoiled to the point that we are not able to build our own construct, build our own kingdom. We're not cultivating gifts within ourselves that can help us bring forth our own construct, our own kingdom. The kingdom is within you, right? The ability, the wherewithal, the spirit is within you. But Israel is a servant, they're a homeborn slave. We operate like cattle. We can't eat if they don't feed us. We can't drink water if they don't get us water. We can't clothe ourselves if they don't make clothes. And none of these things are things that we can't do ourselves. See what I'm saying? So we're spoiled to a certain degree because we are completely dependent on this system. Why? Because we lazy. We don't want to cultivate those skills. We don't want to go out there in the wilderness and build our own. What are you, crazy? Egypt had garlic. They had all the vegetables, all the different meats that we needed. America had housing. We had clean water. We had aggregation systems. Right?
Yep.
This is the same people. We the same people that went out there in the wilderness then, and we the same people that's going to go out there in the wilderness again. And we got to be ready. We got the book as proof, as a map, as a blueprint of what to do and what not to do. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But we're spoiled. We're home-born slaves.
And I feel like I would much rather put all that energy into doing something for myself and for my people than to do that for these companies.
Yeah, but we got too many people that would rather serve the status quo. You know what I mean? We used to the creature comforts, if I can use that word, in our captivity. And like we used to say, and we still say, but we don't realize what we say when we talk about, well, when the stock market crashes, let it crash. They're going to kill themselves. But we know that we're going to be all right. In other words, we know that Brother Banya, because we know that we have it in us. But like Banya said, that's why I said, Dad, Brother Banya, we are lazy because we know that we have this, but we will not do anything unless we are forced to do it. We won't really, we say these things, but we won't really see it until we're taking away from this place and caused to be caused to depend on one another.
In other words, something drastic gotta happen.
Exactly. Something drastic, you know, i.e., the wilderness, us getting kicked up out of this land has to happen.
Man, that's gonna be drastic.
That's going to
Check,
be drastic, you know?
check this out. Check this out, bro. Right? The scripture says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach, who being in the form of the Most High, thought it not robbery to be equal with the Most High." What is that telling you? That's telling you that we should have the same mindset as the Most High. The Most High in the Proverbs tells you, look at the ant, sluggard, how he plants. The Most High plants. Why do we think we don't supposed to plant? The Most High plan, the book is his plan. You see his plans written all in the book. Why don't we understand that there's a part that we got to play, that we have to start planning according to his plan, bringing our plans in line with his, and saying what we got to do. We got to plan. We ain't planning. We have to. We have to bring ourselves in line, our minds, our bodies, our spirits in line with his word and plan. Pray, get up, and do.
Amen. Amen. You got something on that, Brother Yash? I'm gonna share another video. That's profound, bro.
Yeah, really. Yeah, nah, go ahead, fella.
We under fair use. This is another video of an old movie clip describing the purpose of our so-called black intellectuals, black elites, what purpose they serve. I'm sure some of you brothers and sisters may have seen this, but we're gonna run it. We under fair use.
I was today years old when I found out.
Liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Poor you conservatives back in the day. You can't afford to strangle hope people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Oh, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
That kind of describes what we see and know. I never saw this old movie though. I was thinking about looking it up and checking it out. But a lot of this stuff is rolling around now, little clips of different things. I came across that and I thought it was interesting. You know, especially how they had the black people serving them in the background and they just breaking it down. The purpose of why they allow certain of our people in politics. And it gives you the impression that some of these people probably could be effective in some ways. You know, some of these people are groomed up into that environment, I believe. But it is true that a lot of our people who are effective or could be effective, it's like the powers that be get their hands on them first, and they prime them up just enough to be effective for them and ineffective for their own people. That's an interesting video. We see that's represented also in the book of Maccabees when it goes into the history of some of our people aligning or making a covenant with the Gentiles and forsaking the Most High's covenant, getting paid and pretty much being gatekeepers of the community to pacify the people. But you brothers ever seen that before?
Yeah, nah, I haven't. I'm surprised I haven't. I might have and don't remember. I used to see all the movies I was coming up, and I don't think so.
I remember it. I seen that before. As a matter of fact, I think you may have showed me that on Facebook. I'm not sure if it was you or someone else though.
What do you? They had another movie. What was the name of that movie? Uncle Tom's Cabin or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
I caught some
Uncle Tom's Cabin too. Yeah, you're right.
I caught some of that movie. So it's two of them, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, Uncle Tom's Cabin was the guy who was the slave who was actually he was helping out the weaker slave, the big strong brother, and he jumped over the boat and saved the little white girl and stuff. But in the end, they wound up whooping him. He took a beating for several of the sisters. You know, it was actually a good move.
I caught some of
death. Yeah.
I caught some of Uncle Tom's Cabin. It was online. I don't know if it's still up, but I saw up until the point where they had all of the black women like in this this barn looking house, and they well, y'all know what happened. I don't want to say the word and all that, but they did something where they just go in and they just start chasing them, you know, and they running around trying to get away from them. Whichever one they catch, they just had their way with her. You know, and I don't know what happened. I think something may have came up, but I never finished the movie in any case. But let me see something. I got another video here. Y'all familiar with who Larry Elder is, right?
Yeah.
When I ask about the voices that they use to try to neutralize our condition, in my view, he's one of them. You know, a lot of his perspectives fit the narrative when it comes to, you know, things being equal, and a lot of the things that's perpetuated against black people are done by black people, which in the case is true. That's true in a lot of cases, but what's not being done or what's not being considered rather is the strings, you know, that's controlling the things behind the scenes. What we see now with our people is an end result of things that was set in place years ago. We're talking about 50, 60 years ago. These things were started, and once the ball was rolling, you know, like a snowball rolling down the hill turns to a boulder. You know, that's what we see on the TV. But that's an analogy of our issue as a people.
Yeah, they're looking at the effects, but they're not looking at the cause.
Yeah, the real true cause. Now, it's easy to look at us now and say black people kill black people. You know, we can argue that across the board with any ethnicity. But black people killing black people don't justify, you know, our people getting killed unarmed and, you know, innocent and that kind of thing. It's a lot of things that go into that. But that's one of the plays or one of the cards they play when it comes to justifying the things that they do. They talk about what we do to each other. But I want y'all to check this out. Let me know what y'all think about this.
Racist example you can come up with right now.
I think you could probably find evidence that, in general, cops are that cops are more willing to shoot if the perpetrator is black.
What's your data?
Than white.
What's your basis for saying that? Last year,
well, look, I know a lot of people would say, "Look what's going on in Chicago."
I know what they would say.
Yeah.
I'm talking about what the facts are. 965 people were shot by cops last year and killed. 4% of them were white cops shooting unarmed blacks. In Chicago in 2011, 21 people were shot and killed by cops. In 2015, there were 7. In Chicago, which is a third black, a third white, and a third Hispanic, 70% of the homicides are black on black, about 40 per month, almost 500 per year last year in Chicago, and 75% of them are unsolved. Where's the Black Lives Matter on that? The idea that a racist white cop and shooting unarmed black people is a peril to black people is BS. It's complete and total BS. The most.
Now they speaking on the cops statistics, and one thing I see also is Black Lives Matter being used as a punching bag to make these points. I don't support Black Lives Matter. In my view, Black Lives Matter was just another organization funded by other groups. I'm gonna just say that. But the same people who funded this movement are the same people who funded the different movements during the civil rights era. So Black Lives Matter was never an organization that was set up to benefit black people. It was set up to make other people money, which is what it did. And the people that they put at the forefront of it, they got their money, or they received their money. They received flack for it as well. But that's how I see that. That was never put in place for that. But this is just another example of what I mean when I say our issues being neutralized. They talk about black people being killed by cops, and then they go into different statistics, you know, which I don't really know all the statistics myself. A lot of people say statistically more white people get killed by cops than black people. And I always say, well, they should be at the forefront. You should see more in the news about that instead of us. It's a reason for that. But nonetheless, Black Lives Matter, black on black crime, abortion, all of these are different cards that's being played as a means to neutralize what's happening to us in terms of what the nations are doing to us. But even when you go to the surface of these things, it's the same thing. You'll see that there are other people benefiting from our abortions, our prison rates, murder rates, poverty, you know, all of those things that we call out when we talk about what we deal with as a people. There are other people benefiting from those things. But go ahead, what you think?
Could I share something with you? Because another thing is the reason why they make these type of arguments or bring forth these type of arguments, because they're just another tool of white supremacy. That's all that is, you know. And I wanted to share something. I don't know if you've seen it on my Facebook page, but I posted a video. And
you want to pull it up?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Where they make this is type of argument, but this brother on here made an excellent argument, and I want to say fair use. Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right, so fair use. All right, I don't know if I can do a full screen on this. That's not it. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. Well, this would be good enough.
Do you believe that? Do you believe all white people are inherently racist?
Oh.
So I don't know if you're backing me into a corner with that question, but yes, I do.
All right. First of all, I want to start off by saying the audacity of this white woman to even ask such a question. They were having a dialogue about critical race theory, and she just threw this question in there. But since she did, let's get at it. This type of question is like asking, are all people inherently thieves? A lot of people will say, I've never stole a thing in my life. But then the question has to be asked, have you ever been put in a circumstance that strips you down to the core of who you are? Like, would you steal if you were starving? Or have your children ever been hungry? Your answers change based off of things like that. Well, the legacy of white supremacy has created a world that white people don't have to be racist in today. This is why it's so crazy when you run into somebody who actually is racist. It's like, you guys won and got away with everything. What are you mad about? What are you tripping about? Follow the language. Wherever you find their language, you will most likely find the most brutal forms of rape, torture, murder, pedophilia, slavery, deception, etc. How many Africans do you have speaking French, but they're not from France? Go all through South America, you'll run into black, brown, and red people who are speaking Spanish and they're not from Spain. Ask the Congolese people what happened when they came into contact with the white folks coming out of Belgium. Over 10 to 15 million of them murdered, mutilated, killed, children's body parts being hung up in the middle of the streets to make an example of who's in power there. Go to Brazil and see original people speaking Portuguese, but they're not from Portugal. Ask the Aborigines what happened when they came into contact with white folks in Australia. Hell, I'm speaking English right now, and ask the African and the Native Americans what happened when we came into contact with the English. Go to Bermuda and watch the Queen of England on their money, etc., etc., etc. The same story. Different countries with different white folks who all woke up with the same idea to go around the world and brutalize indigenous people. So the barbaric whites come in and take everything, and then the good whites come behind and drink tea and treat you right, right? Maybe you don't have to show inherent racism because you inherited a legacy of racism that affords you the privilege to not have to be racist. Yeah, it's easy to be nice when 91% of nuclear warheads is owned by Russia and America. How we all act when Africa is a superpower with weapons of mass destruction like every other independent nation. Because ain't nothing more dangerous or racist than a scared white person. Could you trust a nigga with a trigger? I do believe that there are solid white folks in this climate who may want better for all. White people today have the chance to show a better face through action, not through lying about history. Like how public school taught me that the first president, George Washington, never told a lie and then skipped over all the slaves that he owned. Bottom line, our days of trying to figure out if there are some good white folks, those days are over. Our only job is to produce independent culture that empowers us, that protects us, and that makes us less vulnerable to every damn thing.
Do you believe that? Do you believe all white people are inherently racist?
So, in other words, he's describing the real definition of what I like to call racist. Because when people think about being a racist or racism, they get triggered. They think about hate. But racism or being a racist is simply putting your people first and the interests of your people first, concerning yourself with the preservation and the best interests of your own people. And that's what other nations do. That's why when we try to assimilate with them, we get treated the way we do.
Yeah, because the system wasn't made for us. It was for them. This construct was for them. You know, normally when you enslave a people and do what they did to us, what the protocol is once you've gotten your system and you gotten it up and running in the way that you want it to be, usually you kill the people that you enslave. You know, because that's a blot on them. We're proof of them in their immorality. You know, as the scripture says, he that stealeth a man and selleth him, if he found in his hands, he should be surely put to death. And here we are, we still in their hands, right? So that's why they want to erase all the history and the things that happened to our people that they did or what they perpetrated against us, so that they can have a future where they can say that they never did these things. So that they can be like, oh, we established this by this and that. And Martin Luther King was a white guy, and he came through, and he's, you know, white people wasn't getting along, so Martin Luther King brought us all together. Another white guy like us, you know.
Yep. That's the MO.
Yep.
What's good, brother Lasha?
Hey, shalom, family. Shalom to the Israelite family in the chat, brother Karab and brother Yash, and brother Ibri. How was everybody?
So far, so good, bro.
Amen. Shalom to you.
Shalom and blessings.
Shalom and blessings.
Well, real quick, man, just give us some thoughts, man, on what you see, because we're dealing with treasonous mentality of our people. You know, the different behavior that we see in our people on all levels. Give us some quick outlook on what you see happening in the climate as far as that's concerned. Can you hear me, bro?
Sorry, brother. I didn't realize you was you addressing me.
Yeah.
You know, things are a little different, man, regarding the spirit of our people. You know, I think that right now our people are either hot or cold in a lot of ways regarding the system. Is either we all the way out or we all the way in. I don't know if there's any, I don't think there's many lukewarm. Looking at how things are going in this country right now, you would have to say everything that's happening is biblical, but due to all the indoctrination that our people have suffered through the multitude of religions that we follow, and outside of that, the multitude of, different organizations that we're in, that we're not seeking any truth or any return to who we are. And I mean, I think we're completely American right now. So I think we're more, we code master than anything, and that's what I'm noticing. I'm seeing a lot more we out of our people regarding what's going on, what we got to do. And I don't mean as Israelites, I mean as Americans, So I think it's a lot of our people sleep, but I think it's a lot of our people that spirit and soul is all the way out, based off the things that's happening to us, So sometimes you can feel like we're going in that direction where the temperament of our people, or you feel like we're waking up, but then sometimes you feel like we fell all the way back asleep, And I'm the one who, I try to, run my business as a merchant, and I notice it's just so many unscrupulous people out there. I got scammed by Israelite sister on Cash App, without any pause whatsoever. So that's why I say most of our people, man, we either all the way out or we're all the way in. I'm hard pressed to say that any of our people are lukewarm. Not to say that we're not, but we either recognize these things as a plague from God that's going on, a plague from the Most High that's happening regarding our people, or we looking at it like we believe the smooth words of this country that it's going to get better, as long as they keep making adjustments. So I think it's still a lot of work to do. I don't have to think. I know it's a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I mean that that goes in line with what I was saying, you know, about a lot of our people having a mindset of not wanting to leave here. You know, some people, if you ask them things like that, they'll consider it. You know, they'll talk about places they want to go. But when you mention, you know, anywhere toward Africa or anywhere in that direction, it's like it's a turnoff. It's a negative response. It's funny because all the other nations are going into Africa, you know. But here's another. Oh, brother Yash, did you want to chime in? I know I haven't heard you in a minute.
Nah, what brother Elisha said was pretty much spot on. You know, sometimes I drag people from one side to the other after I make them realize, you know, wait, hold up. I let them know that, listen, we basically are, you know, I take it back and tell them how our ancestors were literally stolen, kidnapped from a land, and that we have, and they would never return. And, you know, how that we are their descendants. And if we open up our eyes, we will realize that we are literally prisoners. We are captives. They were captured, and we are still captive to this day. And that's why this land hates us, no matter what we try to do to be accepted. And while we're over in this land, while we're over here being hated on, whenever it's brought up about us going back to Africa, the first thing we do is want to deny the land where our ancestors came from. And then I let them know how, even though Africa is the richest continent on this earth, and it's feeding the rest of the world, and how that while we're over here denying it and we want to stay over here in a land, in a place that hates us and holds us down, all of these people from every other nation in the world are over there. And how we need to open up our eyes that and realize that the only reason why we hate Africa, a place we've never been, is because all the images that of negativity that they showed us of not only them, but they reinforce it by showing us images of negativity of ourselves. But we'll never be accepted here. So if the time comes that they tell us that we got to go, I said, because they're going to tell us this. Leave. Don't stay. Because if you stay here, you're going to be destroyed with this country. I just tell them. And that usually kind of jolts them into a reality and make them backtrack on their thoughts.
You know, man, one of the things I guess it is surprising to me, or it gets to me rather, is how people don't really consider the fact that we come from a different part of the world, you know, originally. And we can go back in history and pinpoint the times when we were taken, but from that point until now, our people were never returned back to their land. Nobody else can say that that happened to them. We don't even consider that. You say Jeremiah, thus said Adonai of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go. So that I guess I would dedicate this to anybody who would tell Black people to go back to Africa. You know, those are usually your everyday people anyway that would say stuff like that.
Yeah, but if you look at prophecy, you know, it's a prophecy that I believe that we're going to migrate into the land. You know, I don't believe that ships are going to just drop us off in the land. I believe that a trying migration is going to be what's put upon us, because there's a scripture that says, I shall cause them to walk over on dry shod the 7 rivers of Egypt. You know, these places are similar, or these places are the same that our people had to trek from back when we left Mitzrayim, you know. So I believe that we have a similar situation walking through the desert into the land that is going to be flowing with milk and honey. I think prophetically, we talk about the wilderness. The wilderness is not exactly just establishing us in a hot, dry place to be tried, but you know, the same pilgrimage that our people made, we somewhat will have to take. Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about walking into the land. I'm not just being laid there and okay, we're here now, you know, because those prophecies will be fulfilled, and we will walk over those 7 rivers. So I think that those things, I believe. It's funny you use words like think and believe. I'm trying to get myself out of things, those type of words, when I'm speaking about scripture, you know, but prophetically, this is what it says would happen.
Yeah, prophecy is vast, man. A lot of things, and we see a lot of things happening too. Especially, I was looking at a video today about how the waters were coming up in the desert. You know,
I think
so
that's a good thing,
yeah,
because Israel is supposed to be desolate. You know, we can see the signs of deserts starting to flow with palm trees and grass and water, and we can see what's going to happen with us regarding what is supposed to be a barren Israel. Israel's supposed to be desolate without inhabitant until we return. You know, that should be one indication that the modern day Jerusalem is not the biblical Jerusalem, is that that place is very inhabitable. They're growing vineyards and, you know, almond trees. I know some brothers that live in the mountains or next to the mountains of Arad. And I had a brother tell me, hey, you know, he can send me, he got almond trees on his land and they drop from the trees. And he said he can send me some, you know, send me some almonds straight from the land. You know, that's not the place that's described that would happen after we left the land. You know, so those signs to us about the wilderness, or when we see those deserts flowing with streams of waters and we seeing the floodgates being, you know, set free, and you seeing water flowing, you know, come busting, gushing out of the desert, and grass growing and palm trees are sprouting up like somebody planting them there overnight. You know, that's a sign that we get back to when we get back to Zion, that same land is desolate. It's going to start to look like, you know, Eden. You know, if you want to put it that way.
yep. Say it's going to be a place prepared for us. as it pertains to the wilderness. But check this out, though. We're talking about how they use certain of our people to lighten the load in terms of what happened to us in this nation, the things that they did to us. But here's another video. We still under fair use. This is Larry Elder. Once again, I want y'all to give me your thoughts on this.
Point is that you say racism is not alive today, but
I didn't say that. You said that.
Okay, what did you say?
Racism is no longer a major problem in America.
Correct.
It's no longer powerful enough to hold anybody back that's willing to work hard and follow the 4 or 5 things I just now mentioned. I never said racism is gone.
I agree with that, but the effects of racism are still very much alive. The effects, and the effects will last generations upon generations.
That's nonsense. 1940, before the Civil Rights Act was passed, before the Voting Rights Act was passed, open housing was passed, 87% of blacks lived below the federally defined level of poverty. 1960, 20 years later, that number had declined to 47%, a 40-point drop from 1940 to 1960, the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for blacks in American history, before any of the civil rights stuff had happened. The big problem, sir, is a breakdown of the black family.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
Thank you.
Now the breakdown of the black family, he said the big problem is that the breakdown of the black family, which is true. That would be a major blow to any demographic of people. Breakdown of families, breakdown of lineages. But once again, when you get to the root of that, you see that there are people controlling the strings behind the scenes, and they're benefiting from that. Go ahead.
I just find it's real perplexing to me when they start talking about the breakdown of the black family, and they never talk about the cause of it.
Exactly.
They say, oh, the men stop the men not in the household. What caused the men not to be in the household? Did mass incarceration cause that? Did the war on drugs cause that? Did the fact that they offered a welfare to the families with the incentive that they get rid of the male in their households? Did that have anything to do with it? Right? So this guy and you know they like to say that stuff, but they don't want to incorporate all the working parts to it. You know,
and
they
not
want
only
to talk
that,
about how the black family broke down, and then they use this narrative when they want to use it, and then they don't use it on the other end, right? They say, oh, the black family. I know plenty of brothers that took care of their children and take care of their children. You look at the statistics in on black fathers. We are more involved with our children's lives than any other demographic of people. So what's going on here? You trying to tell me that the school to prison pipeline don't exist anymore? You telling me mass incarceration don't exist anymore? You telling me that Planned Parenthood ain't got setups in every black neighborhood still? Are you telling me that every black person with good credit can get that loan that they need on a house? Some of us can't even go in the bank with a $50,000 check without getting arrested. Come on, man. These guys, man, they're in that same position that the guy was talking about in that movie. They didn't got into a certain level amongst white people, and now they cannot relate to us.
Or don't want to relate.
Or don't want to relate, right?
And not only that, okay, he talks about the greatest from what 1940 to 1960. Okay, what happened? Okay, they took the blacks because they were getting so they was basically held under still under economic bondages in the South, where they were sharecroppers on their own land, that they all moved up to the north in the big cities, New York, Chicago, LA, and place Detroit, and helped fuel this economic boom through working in all of these manufacturing in these factories. And once they got up to the level of where, and that was even then, that was the reason why they formed unions. They formed unions not to better everybody's standard of living. They formed unions to keep the blacks out of their workplaces. But even for those who made it, then you started having white flight. And after you got all the white flight, and it was the blacks left holding on, doing them jobs, what did they do? They moved manufacturing out of the country and dropped it back. So it always falls on the system of racism and white supremacy. No matter what these, see, people like him, I can't see them in the world, because I'm going to jump the gun and probably get in trouble myself. I'm jumping the gun, or at least busting them to the white meat, cracking them right in the head, till we see some blood flow. Cause I can't.
Look, I still remember that time you say you want to feel your arm shake. That was funny, man. But yeah, man. He mentioned the 1940s, right? Did you said something about that, about the 1940s, right?
Yeah. You know what I mean? We're fleeing lynching, all kinds of stuff.
But then he talked about how poverty was high in the 1940s. If you go back about 20 years prior to that, that's when you're dealing with when black people were thriving.
Mm-hmm. And they were destroying our towns, and actually that was it. We was getting chased out.
Yep. By the 1940s, that's when they started to really take a lot of things from our people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of land and stuff like that. So by the time you get to the 1940s, you're dealing with a poverty rate that's high. And over time, it starts to go down because our people start to get assimilated. You know, the more people you have in the workforce, the more, the more tax dollars you can generate.
Mm-hmm.
So on that note, why not allow black people, women? You know, they started to allow a lot of women into the workforce. It wasn't, you know, for the purpose of bettering anybody. It was for their benefit. The more people who work, the more they can generate from tax
revenue.
So they allow immigrants to come over here and work. They got animals can work at the zoo. Anything can work. Anybody, anything that can generate money. You know, they got animals working. That's, you know, when you go to the zoo. But then a lot of people getting attacked. The animals going crazy in these zoos. You seen this stuff? The animals attacking these people, man. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, I was going to say that there's two things I wanted to say. I want to make sure I don't forget the second one. It's a documentary called Banished. I don't know if any of you ever seen it.
Banished.
Banished. It was it came out some years ago, I believe on Showtime. Anyway, it was about some of our people from like the early 1900s that had land in America. Some of them had somewhat what you would call the 40 acres and a mule. They just had the land. They might have the acres. Well, anyway, a lot of disgruntled white people would come to some of our people that owned acres and acres of land. And they would tell them that you had to be out by the end of the week or by the night. And our people would abandon their land, land that they have rightfully owned, and they would go somewhere else. And then you have these Europeans would now come in and take the land. Now they never had the deed. You know, the deed still belonged to so-called black families. So then if you fast forward 70, 80 years to like the early 1990s to the early 2000s, some of these lands were actually, big industrial companies came and built townhomes on them, developments, and now the land was profiting millions and millions of dollars. So you said you had some of the families come along saying this actually belongs to our family. And the people who had the land that, pretty much built on that land and, started making millions off of it, acknowledged that it was their land, but they were having a hard fight to get any profits from it. You got to check it out. It's called Banished. If you get a chance to check that out, check that out. And the second point I wanted to talk about was you said something about the animals are attacking people. What was this video I saw on TikTok where this sister was at the park and all of a sudden this squirrel started following her. And then the ducks started following her. Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen that.
The sister was with her baby, and let me tell you something. All the animals was coming to her like she was Noah telling them to get on the ark. Now I'm telling you, listen, brother, I'm gonna grab up that video. Y'all go see that video. It's an Israelite sister, she's just at the park, and first she's tripping because this squirrel is following her. Like, he ain't know what to do with himself. And then the ducks was coming out of nowhere following this sister. And they just following. She's tripping now, wondering why. These animals are just following her, man. It looked like something out of a Snow White movie or something, But,
man. Yeah, you got to pull that up, man. We got to see that.
Yeah, I want to see that.
For real. But I got another surprise for y'all. Now this one right here is somewhat on the same note. Remember what Larry Elder ended with. He ended with the major problem is the destruction of the black family. All right. And so you'll see that that's being used as a narrative or an I want to say that's sort of a misdirective, because when you say that the destruction of the black family, right? What they're implying is that black people solely are responsible for that, which is true to an extent. But then when you consider the systematic things that we've been put through, you have to apply that element. When you systematically break up families, that would be the result of that. That would be something that you're trying to accomplish, be it, like the brother said, through welfare, through drugs, through imprisonment, murder, the murder rate, all these different things play into and contribute to the breakdown of the black family. But at the same time, all of these things are profitable to somebody else behind the scenes. Our degradation is their profit. But here's another video. Y'all gonna like this person right here. Now, she's gonna give a speech giving her position on the condition of black people. All right. And remember what Larry Elder said and consider what she had to say. Check this out.
Are actively learning their history wrong in school. Public school system essentially just works to, it's a propaganda system. It works to indoctrinate Black youth against things that will ultimately help them. I had an idea that if we could attack those three verticals, we could forever change America, forever change Black America. We could get them to start focusing and understanding where we went wrong. We could get them to start understanding why it is that my grandfather, who grew up in the 1940s in a segregated South, did better than my father did. Who was born in the 1960s. We can help them understand what actually went wrong. And I'll tell you, it's not white people, it's not racism, it's government dependence. Black people are actively learning their history wrong in school. Public school system essentially just works to, it's a propaganda system. It works to indoctrinate Black youth against things that will ultimately help them. I had an idea that if we could attack those three verticals, we could forever change America. We could forever change Black America. We could get them to start focusing and understanding where we went wrong. We could get them to start understanding why it is that my grandfather, who grew up in the 1940s in a segregated South, did better than my father did, who was born in the 1960s. We could help them understand what actually went wrong. And I'll tell you, it's not white people, it's not racism, it's government dependence.
So according to her grandfather did better than her father. Her grandfather in the 1940s did better than her father in the 1960s. According to Larry Elder, in the 1940s, the poverty rate was what, 60%, he said? I could be wrong. It was something like that.
Some kind of number. Yeah, I think so. I think it was 40% or 20%, and then it went up to 60%. But let's get real. Okay, she says her grandfather did better when he was growing up in the 1940s. Let me tell everybody a little secret. Every single person on here knows. But when you look back on your childhood years, it's always better. And that's all that is. That's all that is. He was probably too young to understand the struggle that his parents was going to. You know what I mean? Or not old enough to understand the struggle that his parents were going through. So you remember the good times. You remember the corn and the food and all these other things. Like, I remember these things when I was young. But as I'm old now, I realize, dad, my mom's had to struggle to put some of this food that I didn't want to eat on the table. You know what I mean? Back then, he used to get them big old bags of mashed potatoes for like $5. You get like a 50-pound bag, or $3, whatever. 50-pound bag of mashed potatoes and stuff like that. So I'm gonna need one of these sisters that when I bust Larry Elder in the head in the wilderness, I'm gonna need one of these sisters to take one for the team with me and bust her to the white meat. That's what I'm gonna need.
Man,
you don't think the sister what is her name? Candace what?
Candace Zaddy. That's her name, Candace Zaddy.
Yeah,
she make good points.
Yeah, she does make some good points. Like, everything, I'm not going to say I agree with everything she says. I'm not going to say I agree with most of what she says. But some of the points that she makes is profound. She made I'm not going to say profound, but they're good points. Like what she said about Cardi B and some, the culture of following, like that Black culture is killing, certain things she said about what we do, the culture that we've created is not a culture that even we should want to be a part of. And let me tell you, it's just the truth.
But the thing is, we didn't create this culture. See, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like brother, he was
we're
saying,
not talking about creation though. We're just talking about what it is.
Yeah, what it is. But the problem is when you, all right, it's one thing if you could bring this to our people and you tell them that. But see, you can't bring this to our people and tell them that if you don't, because it's not bringing her any money. So when she goes in front of uh, the enemy and tells them the narrative, she leaves out a whole context. She leaves out the big picture. So it's more like it's that pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You did this your own. You ain't gonna say that the Edomite run industry has a plan to bring this to seduce innocent minds. You ain't, because you know my devilish husband's people is. You ain't gonna say nothing like that, and you can't. But
You know
shoot,
that.
you know that. So that's why I can't really hear no people like that, because you're sitting over here like you're some high and mighty somebody, and you're really doing it for what Brother E did when he started this video off in the beginning. He started off with the scripture. Oh no, Brother Barnia, you brung it up. Actually, my bad. About the money being the love of money being the root of all evil. You know what I mean? OJs. You know, people will sell. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Man,
You
no,
know
Their
what?
own money,
This
whatever.
I think what the brother Elisha was trying to say, and if I would give a couple of phrases or a couple of sayings, he's basically saying chew the meat and spit out the bones, or
Oh,
don't
okay.
throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Man, that baby
It's
got to
it's
go.
not really about being 100% in what she's saying, or
Right.
agreeing 100% with what she's saying, but actually acknowledging that some of the things that she is saying are actual problems within our community. You
But
know,
and I agree with you, brother Elisha. I agree with that, brother Barnia. My point is you're taking it to the wrong audience.
that woman ain't got no business coming to the city giving
No,
that
she ain't, because
message.
they're gonna
That
they're gonna
woman
tear
ain't got
her
no
head off.
position.
But
Right. So where is she supposed to do it? As the white pundits put her on TV, that's where she better speak. She can't come to the city where things get the most gritty and just be who she is. So
that's the
she
point.
right.
Be who
So
she
she
is.
right. She more than likely she's gonna marry a Caucasoid and
She already
just
did.
okay that's what I'm saying. I don't really know her style like that. I'm just saying
Okay.
that you're gonna get some words out of her that's gonna be truthful. She's a sister, so they allow her to say the things that they won't have some of the white people say. They're gonna have her come on and say it and be the voice to the white establishment. And what she said about Kim Kardashian, shoot, man, that was dead on point. She's so I'm not just talking about what she says about our people. I'm talking about some things she says is actually truthful. And I mean, matter of fact, I want to say this too. I did put that link inside the chat where the sister was getting, seemed like the animals was flocking to her when she was out in the park. So if y'all want to check that out. But yeah, you're gonna have a lot of people that's gonna say, when it comes to particularly our culture, a lot of our people always talk about when they're trying to get on TV, they have a line, they have a threshold they can't pass. They can't come out all the way for us, without somewhat being for the white establishment and get a voice in the platform on TV. Now, that's another form of selling out, no different than the brothers that go on and rap about murdering their own people. It's a form of selling out when you do it. But when you're put in those positions and people get the chance to hear what you got to say, even the clock is twice. Even the clock is right twice a day. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the tactics I was talking about when it comes to.
The broken clock. So.
Yeah, but that was one of the tactics I was speaking on when I was talking about how you have certain people that'll lay out the different things that our people deal with, the different issues that our people have. And true enough, a lot of our people have bought into these things. But then when you look at everything that's being done, there's a greater force behind it, And it's not to put blame on them, and it's not to take blame away from us. We know ultimately we in this condition, you know, because of what our forefathers did and what we're doing today. But we know at the same time, the Most High is still holding them accountable because of their motives, what's in their hearts. You know, your father can be punishing you, but that don't justify me taking advantage of you. You know, it doesn't justify that. And that's the heart that's in these people. The Most High, you know, said it would be that way. He set these people up for destruction, you know, but it's definitely something that the Most High is judging, and he's calling out, you know, us being a spoil and how the nations furthered our affliction, you know. But as far as those talking points, those are the things that are pretty much used to sort of curve the discussion, you know, because at the same time, I believe that if we were to get ourselves together and really come together as a people, that will really expose who our enemies really are right out. If we were all to come together under the right constitution of the Most High and keep our culture and agree to it as a people, let's say a large group of our people agree to that, how do you think the powers that be will respond to that? Think of the many ways they'll try to infiltrate that. They've done it before, but we know that it's definitely something that they're not going to just say, oh, okay, they're getting themselves together, let's leave them alone. Because when we get ourselves together, that means we can no more be a spoil to these nations, which means that they can no more come up above us. They can't rise above us anymore. When you look at a lot of these nations that come in our communities, setting up businesses, the foreigners that come to our communities, when you look at the actual countries they come from, you will see that as far as imports, outports, imports and exports, as far as GDP, overall wealth, a lot of these nations don't really have a lot going for themselves. Because you have Esau, you know, he got his foot pretty much everywhere, number one. Number two, the leaders of those nations are subject to people above them, so they have to subjugate their people a lot of times, or cause them to work for low wages, you know, in some of these places, you know. But without us, a lot of these nations couldn't thrive the way that they are. But what y'all think about that? Am I rambling or what?
I agree.
I completely, I disagree with all y'all.
Yeah, nah, yeah. You see, the thing is, all these nations are confederate against us. And, you know, we know it today. And we know Psalms 83 today as white supremacy. Even in the nations ain't got to be white, but they're still confederate under that. In other words, so they all have an agenda against us as a people, while at the same time, and I don't even know why I brought this up now. I was supposed to think of this, but at the same time, we're trying to be the very people that hate us, and we don't even realize it. We want to be everybody but who we are. You know what I mean? We want to be an American. It's because we're having a fight. Because we don't realize our fight is a struggle for humanity. Not the humanity on a whole, but our humanity, or to be recognized as human. And it even shows in the people like the Larry Elders and the Candace Owens. The reason why they do it, and they go extra hard in the paint, is because they're trying their best to be recognized as a human at the expense of everyone else. And we can't see that we're all affected on that level.
Brother Ralph say this a different season. What you mean by that, Brother Ralph? You right. Because things is definitely different. But what say you brothers, man? Y'all, what y'all think?
I think that if you look at it, man, most nations could see when, you know, a system is being set up, you know, to cause them to cause one people to commit psychological warfare against their own people, or to afflict their own people, or to, you know, do any of the number of the things that, you know, I guess you could say that the American government or the Jewish powers, whatever way you want to slice it, some of the things they've been successful at doing to us. You know, if you look at some of the music, you know, it started off, brothers, when you could say gangster rap came out. It started off more in how police and how we were living in poverty, you know, and how we were affected in the inner city by, you know, police officers that was in our neighborhoods. And then it metamorphosed into this nigga, that nigga, kill this nigga, that nigga.
Hey, Brother Elijah, excuse me. Say that one more time, though. Because that was very heavy, profound. When you said a nation causing a people to have psychological warfare against themselves.
Yeah, you have a nation that put things in place, you know, for the better part, putting us in poverty to a large degree, and then making ways out of that poverty for us to commit psychological warfare against each other, physical warfare against each other. If you think about it, what nation doesn't prey on its own nation when it's in degradation, when it's in poverty, when it's being poorly educated, when being poorly fed?
Right.
You know, every nation is going to afflict the one next to them, but they took it to a further degree.
Right.
War against our people and the psychological warfare that they, you know, that we put upon each other. If you think about it, look at how the women teach the younger children now to teach the young women. I once heard Teacher Campbell say, if she can go back and change anything about her life, she would tell all the young women to hoe it out.
Wow.
To hoe it out. This was her counsel to the younger generation. If you look at, you know, and I was talking about how gangster rap came into play.
Yeah.
You know, it started off, you know, being somewhat of a revolutionary, at least in some of the views of some of our young people back then, that we were rapping about how the cops affected us, some of the conditions around us, and for, you know, maybe for a third of the album, you know, we talked about those things. Then it became kill this nigga, kill that nigga, this bitch, that bitch. You know, this, you know, and now the words that we use towards our women is so disrespectful and belligerent that, shoot, brother, like I can't even use half the words just to articulate to the chat, because I don't even want to hear them I don't even want to have them come out my mouth. You know, and if you think about it, you go back to the 80s, we have a long-standing, or we have established a culture within our culture of showing our women ass naked as sexual objects. Now I'm talking about in just music videos.
Yeah.
You know, every rapper, every female rapper got some sister that's scantily dressed, that the main reason to watch that video is to see whose ass is the fattest.
Yeah.
This is our culture now. You know, this is the culture we've made. That's why when I said about Candace Owens, is that okay? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this is what we've become. So if she says it on TV, it's somewhat true. This is what we've become. This is what we do. You know, a lot of the things that we call integrity within our culture is not snitching. You know, watch your brother get killed by another brother and not snitch on him. You know, so everything that we've become is and everything that we instill in each other is psychological warfare on each other. You know, the white people ain't sitting back saying rap about murdering you, but they open up a platform for us to do it. They say self kill, self damage, self destroy. Oh, I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm gonna pay you to do it. You know,
self-destruction.
Self-destruction. That's why when KRS-One came out, you know, we're headed for self-destruction. I don't know if any, you know, I might be a little old, you know, but you know, so you had a lot of when our people saw the changing of the guard, when they noticed that this stuff was happening, you had the Queen Latifahs, you heard the Commons, you had all these conscious rappers you had a lot of them back in the day that was coming out trying to enlighten you, trying to wake you up.
Right.
And the dollar won out because they was able to pay our people to come along and say things that caused the whole culture shift. Now our people are all messed up when it comes psychologically, how we portray ourselves to people and how we are to each other. And this is the battle we're fighting. We're trying to teach the word to a nation that have not been taught the word. We went to church when we was kids. We was taught church. We went to church. We was given Christian values, if you want to say that. The generation now, our kids, none of them have any religious foundation. You know, it amazes me what some of these young dudes says, thank God, and I got all my ability from God. Because it tells me somebody was saying something to them. And you know, and Christianity is a schoolmaster, you know, for a lot of us.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that's where we're at now, man. The psychological warfare we're committing against each other. You know, shalom, brother Cleo, Elder Cleo. I'm sorry.
Hey, shalom. I knew we'll bring you out at some point.
Peace and blessings to the kingdom of the Israelites. Shalom to my brothers on the panel, Eliashah, Banya, Yash. How you brothers doing? I've been listening to the show, and I dipped out for a minute, came back, but I saw a crazy video. I started watching it. I was like, okay, I got to jump on, and we got to show this video, and it's the video. I don't know if y'all seen Kanye West, right?
Yeah.
Y'all seen Kanye West, and so he did this whole thing about White Lives Matter, right? But now he's got a video out on Fox right now, and I want the fam to listen to it, and I'll put it in private if you want, or you can let me share my screen either way, however you want to rock it.
You can share it.
Let me see. Let me get it queued up, because y'all know how I be jiggling my own wire. So what's up with the fam? How the fam doing out there? How y'all doing? I've been watching y'all in the chat acting up, and I only got one thing to say to y'all. All of y'all is not saved, and y'all need to figure out how to get saved. Now I can tell you the secret method on how you could get saved, and I brought it out yesterday, and that's provide a Trinity offering to cthor@google.com. So that's my cash app. You send a Trinity offering, you can get saved. Otherwise, if you're not sending somebody a Trinity offering, there's no way that you can be saved.
Yeah, but you know, brother Cleo, I can tell you, it actually is possible to be saved right now. You want me to tell you how?
How?
Keep the commandments in the Mashiach until death and die.
That way don't count, bro.
Listen what I'm saying to you.
You blaspheme.
Keep the commandments in Mashiach until death and die today, and you're saved.
Nope, that's blasphemy. You gotta know you blaspheme. You gotta tithe a Trinity offering, and then you gotta say that magical prayer. That what's that? John 3:16, ain't that part of what they had you say? You say this magical prayer, and then you say. That's all you gotta do. You gotta keep no laws.
Right.
The laws. Come on, bro. Stop it.
What was I thinking about?
Yeah, man. Come on, bro.
You know,
man,
what was I thinking about? I know what I was thinking about. I was thinking about the verse when the Mashiach said, "He who endures to the end, the same shall be saved." My bad. I forgot we weren't talking about that.
No, you know what I was thinking about when you said that. He gonna say, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you."
Hey.
And then them the good ones.
Hey, so tell them what come with that Trinity offering, man. Do they at least get a handkerchief or
Man, you do the Trinity offering. Here's what I'll do. I'll allow you to go to not the eBay store, because we got our own store set up that says Trinity offering, and then we'll allow you to get a free hat and a free T-shirt. But it's got to be over $300, because it's got to be at least $100 for the Father, $100 for the Holy Ghost, and $100 for Jesus. That brings us to $300. So you gotta be tithing a minimum. You gotta be tithing a minimum of $300 a week.
Yeah.
Because that's really the Trinity offering. The Trinity offering is based on $100 denominations, not no $10. You can't be poor. You can't be giving no $10. The Father don't see your $10 offering. He don't respect that, because he's not a respecter of person.
Look,
Go ahead, bro.
You know those stickers people get when they say I voted today? That's what it's gonna have on the shirt. It's gonna have I gave a Trinity offering.
and that's the best place to be. So listen, I saw this video, man. I was and this video is perfect with the show. I'm gonna cue it up in a second as soon as I get my mouse over there. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Yeah, you can make it bigger.
Roger.
Yeah.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Is this even better right there?
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Okay, so I'm gonna cue this. This is Tucker Carlson. You know who he is. He a racist white supremacist that works for Fox News. And the only time he will have a so-called black Negro Israelite on is when they disparaging their people. But I want you guys to listen to this video, and then you guys can make comments after that. Because people think Kanye is crazy, but let's just listen to the video. Let me know if you can hear it.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Kanye West, now known as Ye, is one of the best-selling musical artists in the world. He's also in recent years become a celebrated and very highly paid fashion designer. And of course, for a decade, he was well known to TV audiences as an in-law of the Kardashian family. But it's West's latest incarnation as a kind of Christian evangelist that brought us to his office in Los Angeles today for the interview you're about to see. Days ago, during Fashion Week in Paris, West, accompanied by his friend Candace Owens, unveiled a T-shirt that read simply, "White Lives Matter." The response from the fashion industry and international media was instantaneous and uniform. Shock, horror, rage. There is no excuse for this, thundered the New York Times. West is legitimizing extremism, shrieked Rolling Stone, etc., etc. What was strikingly missing from the coverage, however, was any explanation for why West did this. What was the T-shirt about? No one seemed to think to ask him, much less to listen to what he had to say. Instead, the enemies of his ideas dismissed West, as they have for years, as mentally ill. Too crazy to take seriously. Look away, ignore him. He's a mental patient. There's nothing to see here. But is West crazy? You can judge for yourself as you watch what we're about to show you. He has his own ideas, we can say that. Creative people tend to. That's why they're artists, not actuaries. His freeform social media posts give the impression of a man channeling his rawest emotions right onto Instagram. The effect can be jarring and is often used as ammunition against him in the battle for influence over the minds of America's young people. And that battle is intense. But crazy? That was not our conclusion. In fact, we've rarely heard a man speak so honestly and so movingly about what he believes. But again, you can judge for yourself. Here it is. So you just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and the lanyard's still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life and pro-life.
Boy, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more Black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of Black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel this way? When did you start to realize this?
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office, and I liked him.
Yes.
And every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to, you know, my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me, like, if I said that I like Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They put my life. They basically said that I would be killed for wearing the hat. I had someone call me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, you know, okay, green light me then. You know, God builds warriors in a different way. I don't know if it's because of me being born in Atlanta and growing up on the south side of Chicago that, you know, he made me for such a time like this. It's like with David, you know, he tended to the sheep, but while he was out there, he had to fight all kinds of animals. So when it was time for Goliath to come, he thought because he was a sheep herder that he didn't have the skill set to take down Goliath. And the thing that I have is the position, I have my heart, but the number one thing is we have God on our side. And for the people, even if you don't believe in God, God believes in you.
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter T-shirt which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
You know, I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. You know, like as if you ask like Tanya Harding how she did the triple flip or the triple spin. She was in so much practice that when it was time for her to skate in a competitive format, it just happened. Like it happened outside of practice. It happened in the real format, and that's what's happening. Is God is like preparing us for the real battles. And we are in a battle with the media. Like the majority of the media has a godless agenda, and the jokes in that work, and this whole like, oh yeah, he's crazy and all these things, they don't work because the media has, you know, they've also watched travesties happen, just even specifically to me, and just watch it and act like it wasn't happening, and they stay quiet about it.
What if they?
So, I want to answer the white.
Yeah.
I feel like someone caught what I was saying, the comparison to Tanya Harding about the White Lives Matter. You know, my dad is an educated ex-Black Panther, and he put a text to me today. He said, "White Lives Matter, ha 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 ha." And I said, I thought the shirt was a funny shirt. I thought the idea of me wearing it was funny. And I said, Dad, what do you think it was funny? He said, just a Black man stating the obvious. And, you know, my dad doesn't listen to rap music, and he's like super educated. We opened up a water distribution center in the Dominican Republic together. He's like the original Steve Jobs, but he was getting blocked every which way with all of his ideas. And he didn't have an endless bank account, and he didn't have an Instagram. So all these ideas, he had to like take them back and compress them. Like my dad is the most brilliant person that I know. And we actually have a strained relationship because I was taken from him, because my mom was an actress, so she was a liberal. And my dad would see certain things and say, you know, we should do it this way, we should do it that way. And the people got around my mom and pulled her away, much like, you know, Kim is a Christian, but she has people who want her to go to Interview magazine and put her ass out while she's a 40-something-year-old multi-billionaire with 4 Black children. And this is how fashion wants to, how they want to present her. So I know you give these questions, and I give you like these 3-part answers. Is this a cool format for you?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool.
And I am following it.
All right.
So you said that your father said when he saw the shirt "White Lives Matter," it's great to see a black man stating the obvious. So, by which I think you meant that's obviously true.
Yeah, that's my favorite response, because I kept on thinking, like, people, they're looking for an explanation, and people say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
So the answer to why I wrote "White Lives Matter" on a shirt is because they do. It's the obvious thing.
Yeah. Why do you think that's so? And I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad grew up as a military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time, if they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go to the club and the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
It was the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know. And when my mom, when the school suggested, like, the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate us, and they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD, and she was influenced to move to the south side of Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you'll never see him again. Because, the media ridiculed me for getting the house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. There's so many things that are put in Kim's head. They bring influencers, like, no one ever knew where Corey Gamble came from. No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of. And if you have a person that isn't afraid of them, like a Russell Brand or Candace Owens, or it's not that we have to agree with this, but
they're not afraid.
They're not afraid to state what their opinion is.
Yes.
No one is God, and everyone has an opinion.
So a conversation like this is a window into a world that you don't see. So if you're familiar with West, from the media, you think of him as an individual man. What you don't think about is that he is at the center of a battle, and people like him are at the center of a battle to get a message out. Mouthed by the lips of influencers like him and so many others, that extends a storyline on behalf of, well, in this case, the status quo. So there are a lot of people vying to make certain that people like him say the right things. The consequences for not doing that are very severe. So for him to come out and say all lives matter, obviously, is a huge threat to a lot of people. Who are those people exactly? Well, we asked him, and he told us. That's next. Subscribe to the...
And you know who those people are.
And he's sitting in front of one of them.
So basically, I guess he's saying the reason he wore that shirt, he said is because to state the obvious. But is that to mock white people? Because he went into describing some things about our people after he said that, things that happened to our people.
Well, he should have put a question mark on the end of it or something, you know?
Well, you have to listen to what his response was from his dad. His dad said, "Ha ha ha," basically paraphrase, "Ha ha ha." You're stating the obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
And putting out there that his dad was a Black Panther. I can say this right now. I don't know if there's something wrong with Kanye or not. Either he's very, very smart, very intelligent, and he playing chess, or he dumb as hell, and he's not. We not looking at Kanye. We looking at a clone. Right?
I you know what? I don't know what it is either. But let me tell you something. When he did do that, when he said he's stating the obvious, and Tucker said, yeah, and white lives matter, then he said all lives matter. But when he said you're stating the obvious, and he asked him, like, what do you mean by that? He wanted to, but he couldn't say. And then he said, why did you do that? But he wanted to say, but he couldn't say, because Black lives don't. When he spoke about his father.
No, well, here's the thing, man. It could have been like a smack in the face to all those white people who be saying white lives matter. It could have been done in sarcasm, like, oh, okay, all right, white lives matter, yeah, let's state the obvious, yeah, you know.
Yeah, but Candace Owens.
It could have been, well, you know, but then when you bring that element into it, then it's like,
well, when he brought her out there with him, that was to clear up any ambiguity to why he was saying what he was saying.
Exactly.
If now had he just wore it himself and stood out there on any, runway or platform, people would have just wondered what he was saying. They would have thought he was saying it as some type of hidden shot. But when he stood with her, he was saying exactly what the shirt says.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to all the people that made him the richest rapper on earth.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking to all them that paid him checks. Let him know that I'm all the way down. I might say some other stuff. I'm all the way down. I might say some stuff.
Yeah. But if you listen to his and here's what I'm going to preface this by saying, and I shouldn't have to do this. I'm not a proponent of Kanye West. I'll say that up front. But if you listen to his vernacular, and I'm not defending nothing he said, but he said some things that were interesting, like his handlers.
Yeah,
he was just, and him saying the fact that, okay, if I say something out of line, I'm paraphrasing, that I'm gonna get checked, right? So now that's a separate. It's the same click, but it's a separate click. Now he's pointing directly at the Fuse right now when he's making statements like that. He pointed at the Fuse, and for those of y'all who don't know what the Fuse is, the Fuse is short for a fake Jew. So you put the word fake together and you put the word Jew together, you get a few. And so that's who he was pointing at. So he was blowing shots at the Fuse, but at the same time he was mentioning the fact that, okay, it's so many of our black babies getting done by abortion. Now, you can focus on what Kanye said, and the jury's still out. For me, the jury's out on if Kanye's bat crazy, and you can replace that pause with the S word, or is he a genius, or is he just like all the way sold out? He all the way on the other side with the with white racism and white supremacy. Now, nobody in their logical mind, logical meaning that you logical based on what you've been trained up, based on how you've grown up and what you know, you are not going to betray your handlers. You're not going to betray the system that put you on. That's never going to happen. So you have to assume that there's some level of culpability to what the brother's doing. And I'm going to yield on that, let you brothers rock out.
Let me say this one comment, brother. You know, when Kanye made the statement that, you know, 50% of black people are die from abortion. You know, he made that statement, but you know, he also said in the rap once he sold his soul to the devil. Now he's talking about God and you know what God thinks, but yet he's supporting. You know, he's running around advocate and basically, I guess he's a Republican now for the Republican Party, and he's using, you know, some of the highlights of the Republican Party to when they don't believe in abortion, when they have some biblical, beliefs, you know. So the Republican Party tends to grab some people with they don't believe in abortion and there's certain things that they believe that the government should do for citizens. Why the Democratic Party is just known to supposedly be so pro-black. You know, I don't know where we got this fiction from. You know, so I don't think his political agenda is shooting any shots at anybody when the main thing he's saying is that he likes Trump and that he supports viewpoints of the Republican Party and that he supports those who keep him one of the richest brothers on the earth. I don't see anything really profound about it, what he's saying subliminally or outright. You know, I think that it's a political agenda and he's showing you his handlers are. He might run for office and I wouldn't be surprised if he run for governor.
She might got a new album coming out or something.
Maybe that too.
You know, whenever he gets a new album coming out, he just started doing a lot of talking and a lot of appearing in the media. But you're definitely right. It's some kind of agenda behind it politically. You know, I definitely think that the way they're moving, they are definitely used as a means to neutralize our people in a way. I do believe that.
Yeah,
Absolutely. 100. Go ahead, bro.
I was just gonna say, if you think about it, his ex-wife Kim Kardashian was more of a supporter for freeing, you know, a lot of our mass incarcerated population, as far as you know, the brothers go. Then she was more outspoken and still more outspoken on that subject than he is. So you know, he grabbed a mantle on the abortion thing because it's something that is being is prevalent in conversation today. But where was he at when his white wife was championing freeing brothers from prison? I didn't hear their brother say nothing.
Because the reason why you won't hear a brother say nothing on anything, because when you're at that level, it's not you're actually literally told not to say anything, and you're literally told not to help these people, not to help the Israelites. That's a proven fact. Now let's get back on Kanye for a second. If you notice his vernacular, and this is the part where people will call it narcissism, I'm thinking that he's probably thinking that he's some sort of gift to our people, because at one point he was claiming that he's an Israelite. You can go look at that research. But the idea that he believes in his mind that he's some sort of if you listen to him talk, he almost comes off like he's a demigod, and that's because you've achieved and because you've made money. That don't make you a demigod, because as the brother said, as Eliashah said, you sold your soul to the other side. And the other side, and the other side is tapped into the Fuse all the way. The Fuse usher in that, and they usher in that with their music, because they control the airwaves. They control hip hop. They have controlled hip hop after you had the conscious rappers go out of Dodge. And if you had just music for dancing go out of Dodge. But they was there, look up, what's his name, James Todd or Richard Todd. He gets into how they used to pray, or they still do. They would pray spirits into the music while they was making the music. And so nobody's under the illusion that Kanye is of any value to our people, because if he was, then you would be direct, live and direct, and you wouldn't come with anything that would be questionable or sideways, if you know what I mean. In other words, if you were to put a mic, let's say that the brothers on the panel got to the level where Kanye West was. Do you think that if you put a mic in front of our face that our vernacular would change, or would it be the same? Because if your vernacular changed, that means you're a traitor, or you was lying just to attain something.
Look, but I'm gonna say this, you know, and then brothers, you know, I don't know how brothers is gonna view this, but you know, it can't be downplayed. You know, you put $8 billion in $6 billion in a person's hands. I mean, we can sit back right now and everybody can stand with a level of virtue and integrity, but you put $6 billion in a person's hand. The only thing we know about their vernacular is when that happens, because we can all assume what it's going to be. I'm going to still be the same, and I pray that brothers will have even more integrity. But you know, it says absolute power corrupts absolutely. Having
Show
that
me
type
that
of
in the
money,
book, bro. Show me that in the book. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, because that sounds like a wise tale that a heathen said. I have to see that in the book. So now nobody can say what another man can do unless they can foresee the future. Nobody can say what I'm gonna do. I already know what I'm gonna do, because I might be the one to come into that kind of end. And it's not gonna be, oh yeah, the brother changed, the brother's still gonna be the same.
I think that, brother, you know, you got a lot of brothers that change when they get. I'm not saying you, brother Cleo, Elder Cleo. I'm not saying that's you. I'm not saying there's anybody in here. But so those type of circumstances where people get money like that, Kanye included, I guarantee you that, brother. Now, he ain't never been spiritual, but I don't know him like that. But you know, I haven't seen anything in his rap career to say he was so spiritual that I'm surprised in the direction he went once he got all that money and all that fame. You know, but then, like I said, you know, you put that type of money in people's hands, and then you see what becomes of them. There's a reason why the scripture says what it says regarding, it'll be easier to put a camel to the eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven. I'm not saying that you can't be rich. I'm just saying that people do change when their circumstances change. That's why it's always better to be diligent, in season, out of season, all the time, in every way regarding the commandments, laws, and the statutes, and regarding what the Most High says to us. That way you can be protected with the type of mind. I've seen brothers who just get a following. Like, I've been out there with brothers who get a following, and all of a sudden all they become is women chasers. They tail chasers right off the cuff. These brothers, you know, they got some humility at first, but then all of a sudden they sniffing every tail that goes by, just because they got a couple people that wants to listen to them online. Can't keep them out women's faces. I'm talking about sinister looks, looking at women like they should be prosecuted just on the way they're looking at them. So I'm just saying, people change when they get to those situations.
I would agree with you. If you're not grounded, you're gonna change. I appreciate what Brother Banya brought earlier, because he said it succinctly. He said the love of money. It's not money, but it's the love of money. Now, I'm gonna speak only for me, because I know what my heart is. If and when the brother C does come into that, when he does come into that, you will notice it. And we got me on tape already. We got me on KC from Jump or any other time I've spoken. I've spoken in terms of we. I've never spoken in terms of C. And see, that's the difference between me and probably most brothers on the earth. Is that I don't never talk about me. I talk mostly about, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to build? Brother C, you talked yesterday, Brother C. You talked about, well, how Brother C get a private jet, and the brothers on the panel, the people in the chat don't have a private jet too. Yep.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna say this to you.
I'm already on record, bro. I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking to me. I know you're not speaking to me.
I'm saying this. I'm not speaking against finances. Like, Lord, Most High knows. I would love to desperately improve my finance. I'm gonna have a lot to do with it when it changes. You know, right now, I'm not speaking anything against prospering and having the financial ability to not only help yourself but to help others and to be comfortable, not have to worry about have a financial problems. I'm just saying that there are people that change when it comes to getting that type of money that we're talking about Kanye is getting, because a lot of times you have to capitulate to certain systems of government, certain systems or certain organizations to even get that far. So when you start getting up there and you start getting media hype and media exposure, and you got the powers that be that allow this, you're coming into a lot of agreements that you're making to get that far, to get on TV. Like the young rapper said, he said, there's a lot of dudes that rap better than me, but they'll never get where I'm at because they got to make certain agreements. They got to be willing to give up certain things. Even when like some of these groups get the 501c3 tax exemption status, there's certain things they can't say, without affecting that tax exemption status. Religious powers or religious organizations have a right. They have a certain doctrine that you might be pushing the envelope if you say certain things when they allow you to be tax exempt to take in donations and tithes, all that stuff the groups take in. So I'm just saying to you, there's a lot of turning yourself over to the other side to get where Kanye is at. Shoot, I'm never speaking against us prospering as a people, as even as a group. But I'm just saying, you shaking certain hands you get as far as that, brother.
I'm gonna say this to that point. What I'm gonna say to that point is that the tail is no longer the head. What you just described was the old paradigm, bro. And I don't prescribe to the old paradigm, flat out. I prescribe to us being the head. And so because I prescribe to us being the head, that don't apply to me. What Kanye did don't apply to me. Because I'd have people come at me to say, oh, well, if you do this, it could be this way. Or if you do this, it could be that way. Nah, I don't have to do it that way because you know why? I rock out with the Father. He already going to give it to me anyway. So according to Deuteronomy, I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. I prescribe to that and I prescribe to Deuteronomy 30. So I don't have to shake nobody's hand and make no agreement with the other side. All I got to do is rock out with the Father, go LSC. And I can get anything on this earth that I want. We could get anything on this earth that I want because we the next superpower. That's how I think and that's how I rock out, bro. And that's how I'm always going to think and rock out.
Elder Cleo. Elder Cleo. I guess you done told me and I'm in my place now. So
no, bro, it's not about putting nobody in the place because really, I would recommend anybody go back and listen to all the Kingdom conversations that I've ever done. It's the same thing. I haven't changed. We're supposed to be the head. We need to put down the idea that somebody blocking us or that we're going to get blocked by these people over here. But if where somebody go get the precept where it say that if the Father be with you, who could be against you? What about that?
Hey, I will say this though. I agree with both of what the brother is saying. It is a fact that when people do come into wealth, life-changing wealth, that they change, and a lot of times is for the worse, but at the same time, the word tells us the more that you're elevated, the more humble yourself. And I think that's where Brother Cleo is coming in, but from my own personal view on that, as far as getting wealth, and then we're gonna break off after this, but the purpose of getting wealth is not for us to stay the same. You either gonna get better, or you're gonna get worse.
Let me make this one last statement. I'm saying that how you get wealth and who you decide to get it with, and the dealings and the relationships you build, you gotta be careful in those things because certain things are not worth prospering off of. It takes you down the wrong road. Just like if brothers was talking about, let's get wealthy, being gangster rappers. I'm just saying, just talking about in those avenues of how you get wealth and the people that you start to deal with. That has a large part to do with how people change. If you get money, how Kanye got money, it's almost a given that you wouldn't be staying close to the Most High God, because those fashion industries that man got into with the Yeezys and all those things, he wasn't getting through none of them doors if he was talking about the 400-year prophecy and things like that. So.
No, I think his stuff is weird, man. He wearing clothes look like made for some Nephilim or some Dude got on a big orange jacket. Look like it's about a 10X or something.
Like the man with the big body and the small head on the puppet mask.
Something, man. Them clothes. Like, come on, man. Those
You
are
know
not
what?
fashionable.
But what they say is about money, it's that money makes you more to be able to have this abundance. It only makes you to be more of what you already are. So if you're wicked, you're going to be more wicked. And if you're righteous, you'll be more righteous. That's what it is.
Hey, man. Let's take a break, man. Come back and give some closing thoughts. I want to thank you, brothers, for chiming in. I want to thank everybody in the chat for chiming in and giving your thoughts. You know, we covered some ground tonight. Kind of got into something else there at the end, but we showed a lot of examples of the treasonous mentality of our people, how a lot of things are used against us, even the narrative about our condition, the things we do to ourselves. If you look at that's what we call black subculture now. You know, when the Jews and the Irish back in the early 1900s lived in this country, they lived the same subculture that we're living now, or that we're pretty much what they categorize us for. The quote unquote black culture, the ratchetness, the murder, the drugs, and all that. This is the same culture that the Europeans that came to this country, the low-life Europeans came over here, they gave them land and they aided those people. And now they're in a position to where they don't have to live in a subculture. They don't have to try to survive and you know, do like how we do. This is why they were able to use them against us. The poor whites against the poor blacks. You know. But that's one thing to keep in mind. And when we looking at the condition of our people, it's best to look at it from a biblical point of view. A lot of our people don't believe in the Bible. But more and more we see every day the words of the Most High coming to life, and they're resonating. Yeah, let's say, can you show this link? Yeah, I will. I'm gonna show it right when I come back, right after we come back from this break off. Shalom and blessings, brothers and sisters. I'll be right back. Before we go, I want to mention our other YouTube endeavors. Don't forget about Brother Kadar's YouTube channel. Like and subscribe to that, as well as the Salt of the Earth Productions channel. You're tuning in to Wake Up Jacob. Go ahead and subscribe to all three channels, the Beginners channel, Salt of the Earth, and Brother Kadar's channel. That way you'll stay in the loop whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. Also hit the notification bells. Kingdom Conversations Wednesday nights, hosted by our brother, the great Elder Cleo, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern, depending on where you are. Also, go check out the playlist on the Beginners channel. I would like to get you brothers and sisters feedback on that. I want to give a special shout out to all the brothers and sisters who sent music in to make that playlist possible. It's up on the channel right now. Also, don't forget about the website, trueebry.com. I want to thank everybody who has went on the website. Go on there and get you something nice. Give us some feedback. Also, I'm getting ready to start up another YouTube channel. It's called For Readers Only. And on that channel, I'll be strictly doing biblical readings from different texts, biblical and quote unquote extra biblical, a lot of historical documents dealing with biblical information, that type of thing. So you can go over and subscribe to that as well. And like I said, that channel will be strictly for that only. I want to do it that way because I don't want to flood the channels with that information. I want that to be separate. That way, brothers and sisters can have that outlet as well as this one. And when we post videos on these channels, these videos will be focused on brothers and sisters who want to view this particular content. So you can go over and subscribe to that channel. I'll put the link in the chat here shortly, but just so you brothers and sisters can be aware of that. But in closing, you know, I want to close with this. This is what I want to close with. Let me make sure I got it pulled up first. I want to close with 2nd Esdras. It's chapter 9. This is one that I read a lot as well. But in light of what we see in terms of our people, those of our people who reject the truth, they despise the truth, they don't use this opportunity as a means to get to know the Most High or to even question the condition of our people to understand it better. You know, like the testimony I gave once, that's a question that I had for the Most High. I wanted to know, why is it that my people are on the bottom? And the Most High revealed that to me through various means, you know, and so that's a testimony that a lot of brothers and sisters share as a means of, you know, how we got awakened. At some point of our life, we became curious as to why we see what we see. Why are people in a condition? Why am I in a bad condition personally? Why am I struggling? You know, once you can see yourself struggling, you look at your people struggling, you ask that the Most High makes those things known. But this is 2nd Esdras, chapter 9. And I'm going to start at 6. No, I'm going to start at 5. It says, for like as all that is made in the world hath the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. This is one of my favorite parts to read too, 7 through 9 or 7 through 8, because it lets you know that everyone that shall be saved and shall escape by the works and by faith, by the Most High's works and by faith, and even by the works that we do in honor of the Most High. He said, these are the things that we're going to be saved by or shall be saved by. It says they shall be preserved from the said perils and shall see my salvation in my land. All right. Then it says, then shall they be in pitiful case, which now have abused my ways, and they that have cast them away despitefully shall dwell in torments. So this is going to be the lot of those people who despise the Most High and reject the Most High when we have an opportunity. You know, we have an opportunity now in this age of information. Somebody, Brother Ralph, said that in this day and time, we're we're more knowledgeable in terms of our history. He told Daniel to seal the book up for a time. And now we're living in a time when the book is being opened and things are being made known. And so it's in our best interest to take advantage of that. It's in our best interest to start concerning ourselves with the condition of our people. But it says, for such as in their life have received benefits and have not known me, and they that have loathed my law, or they hated the law while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. So we have people within our own people that's, living in benefits. They're able to partake of all of the benefits, the money, the lifestyle. And because of these things, they despise the Most High. It said that it says as yet a place of repentance was open unto them. They understood not, but despised it. So a lot of people who don't understand, when you try to share the truth, or when they, become argumentative and resentful and they don't understand, it's because they despise it. Anybody who don't understand the Most High's word is more than likely because they don't want it. And that's because they don't want to live by the standards of righteousness. It says the same must know it after death by pain. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is and for whom the world is created. And so these are my closing thoughts on this. This is what the scripture is telling us going to happen in terms of those people who have an opportunity to turn back to the Most High, but they don't. But on that note, I'm gonna turn it over to the brothers, and you brothers can give your closing thoughts.
All right. But just a little on topic, but a little bit off a topic. For those of the brothers and sisters out there that want the calendar, again, send me an email at saltoftheearth144@gmail. I don't know if you can put that. You can have that scroll bar, brother. You got it on the ticker. All right. For those of the brothers and sisters that want the calendar, right, the 364-day calendar, send me an email and just title it calendar at saltoftheearth144@gmail. Brother's gonna look at it this Shabbat, and then I'm gonna start sending them out next Shabbat. All right. So if you want the calendar and you want to follow the feast days according to the 364-day calendar, then send us that email and I'll get it to you. This is for free. Even if you don't follow it, I would say it'll probably be prudent for you to get it so that you'll have access to it in the case that you change your minds. All right. So if you want the calendar, again, saltoftheearth144@gmail.com. With that being said, I would just say walk in faith, walk in grace, and walk in obedience, Israel.
Thank you, bro. Also, send your requests via email, saltoftheearth144@gmail.com. And also the other emails are scrolling across the bottom as well. You can reach out via email, and also the link to the other channel I just mentioned is in the chat as well. But you can go ahead, Brother Yash.
Oh yeah, and we got people in the chat that desperately want to see the girls walking with the ducks. But and me too. But anyway, last night on Kingdom Conversation. And if those who were unable to see it, I ask that you go back and watch the replay. It was an excellent presentation that Brother Cleo brought forth. And I bring that up because when I closed, I ended it with this text from the Testament of Daniel. And in that testament, on his deathbed, he told his children that at the time when Israel, or our nation, is solely given over into lawlessness and unrighteousness, or basically at the time when our nation is given over to apostasy and unbelief, at that time, at that same time, or that is going to be the time when the Most High sends our deliverance. We look at the state of our people now, and we're living in that time now. And I'm just putting that out as an encouragement. It's discouraging to see our nation, which is yet to be born, in the state of depravity and unbelief as it is. However, this is the exact same time. And wow, check this out. Well, this is the time that the Most High has chosen to deliver us. We're not going to all be righteous. He says, not for your sake do I this. I do this for my name's sake. So, and I said, oh, wow, because it also parallels when the time of the Gentiles come to the full. And we know that as the wickedness of the Gentiles. But knowing that the scriptures was talking about us, that is actually in agreement with what Dan said about our nation. Because these Gentiles, shoot, they only doing what they're supposed to be. They supposed to be good. But we are supposed and destined to be a righteous nation. Shalom.
That's profound, man. Thank you, bro. Brother Lasha.
Yeah, say Shabbat Shalom to all the family out there. You know, maintain and preserve yourself in the Most High from this nation. You know, the most in the scriptures it says, "Get ye out of the midst of her, that you be not a partaker of her plagues." In another place it says, "Save thy soul alive." You know, psychologically and spiritually, we have to come out of this place. You know, and there's always little ways that we've learned from this nation that seem to keep grasping hold of us. You know, some of our women are still ordering, 50 pair of shoes a month. You know, some of us is locked in, just doing different things that makes us still love this place somewhat. And I'm not saying that you can't have fun or anything like that. But psychologically, spiritually, mentally, we want to separate ourselves. We want to get out of here. We already want to have our boots on, and be ready to ready to go. So to let go of this place little by little and trying to take a little pieces back of what our heritage was, little by little. Even if that's just healing a headache with ginger and almonds. Instead of aspirin. Any little thing to take us back to what our people would do is helping us separate from this place spiritually, and that way we'd be ready to separate physically. Every wrong thing about our people is things that we learned here. I'm not saying that we didn't do things that get cast out of the land, but our abominations have reached a whole new height being in this country right here, being scattered amongst a lot of these European nations. So I just want to say peace and blessings. Come ye out of the midst of her, and start taking back some of our Israelite heritage. That's truly revolutionary to take your name back and to keep those commandments. Keeping those commandments is a revolutionary act. You're a freedom fighter if you keeping the commandments. You're a freedom fighter if you keeping the law. You're being holy, set apart if you're keeping the feast days. So do all those things, continue to be so. And if you're not those things, desire to be them. Shalom.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Brother Cleo.
Hey, first of all, I want to give all honor and glory to the Father and to his Son and to the Ruach. I didn't do that when I first came on. Secondly, the thing I want to leave the family with is like the book says, seek ye first the kingdom of our Elohim and his righteousness, and all these other things will be added to you according to his riches and glory. And so, fam, stop running around acting like you the tail, because if he done took the cup of dregs that we wrung out of our hand, if it's in the heathen's hand now, you should be operating and thinking that you're the next superpower that's going to come upon the earth. And according to the book, you are the next superpower that's going to come upon the earth. So it's time out for thinking about old paradigm. You need to start thinking about new paradigm. And the new paradigm is right there in front of you in Deuteronomy 30. But if you want to see how it really was, look at Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 14. Y'all know I quote that to you all the time. So fam, look in the mirror at yourself tonight. And then when you wake up in the morning and say to yourself, like I always tell you, say to yourself that you are a member of the kingdom of the Israelites. Shalom.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Brother Cleo. I want to thank all you brothers for chiming in. Here's that the video that Brother Elisha sent. Let me see if I can get it queued up.
None of y'all ain't saved.
Follow me away from me, Samuel. Why you follow me? You want to see my baby? Look, you want to see the baby? Is that what you want? You want to see the baby? You want to see Coco? Oh, no. What's going on? What did I do to y'all? What did I do? Oh my God. No, what did I do? Get away from me. Stop. Oh my God. Y'all, please. What did I do? Oh my God. What did I do? Why y'all? No, what y'all doing? Hey, yo, sir, get away from me. Move.
Who is this woman?
Go. Y'all stay away from me, please. What did I do to y'all? No, for real. You follow me.
That baby might be of the seed of David or something.
Who's that woman?
Oh, I don't know.
She should have put that on YouTube, because like Elisha said, that baby could be of somebody. You better put that. She better take that off of YouTube.
If you saw, you seen like some white geese coming up in a little pack too, like at the end, so I don't know, that baby might have been, might have had royal Israelite blood in them or something. But them animals are strong to.
That's the first thing I was thinking. Man, who is that baby? Who is that woman? She better take that off YouTube before the few see it, and they be knocking on her door.
Wow. That'll be too much. I think she'll be able to handle that. We got to take this baby in for experiment. Make sure we gave it the shot that we were supposed to give it. You know, as soon as your baby's born, they want to inject them with stuff.
Yeah. Just to make one quick comment, it was a sister had made not a sister, I'm sorry, it was Edomite who said that that Esau was gonna, say the European white powers, they would have to mix with us to make it another 20 years on this earth. Because of what they, as far as the ultraviolet rays or what's coming in through what they consider to be the ozone layer. And one thing that's profound about that is that if you go into Numbers 23 and you look at the doctrine of Balaam, it is a mixing with Israelites, mixing with Israelites to receive the blessing. But I mean, it's a whole nother topic and subject. But they might disguise it as mixing with us because they need melanin in their skin. But it's way deeper and more spiritual than that. Is the fact that they want their bloodline to get their kingdom. So it'll behoove them to, at least that corrupt doctrine in Balaam is to mix with our people. That way, the seed of their people and that blood of their people get some of that blessing. You look at Numbers 28, you see that royal marriage line, and up in the Mashiach said he hated that doctrine. I'm gonna leave that alone from there.
You didn't. That was deep, my brother.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe those animals was asking her, can they go? Because they know we about to be.
Take us with you.
But that's an example of the Most High when he said he gonna make a covenant with the beast of the field.
Well, that's what I think.
Bad. You say what?
I said that's what I saw in the spirit. Same thing.
Yeah. But hey, I want to thank you, brothers, once again. I want to thank everybody in the chat once again for your time. We give our praise, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, to His Son, and to His Holy Spirit. This has been a Salt of the Earth Productions. Hallelujah. Shalom.
Everywhere I go, the children rising. Everywhere I go, the children rising. I saw them just rise up. The wicked running, I saw them just rise up.